Hey everybody, Questwise here. I wanted to try out this whole YouTube live thing. I don't know if anybody's out. It's the middle of the day and a Monday. I don't know if anybody else has the day off like I do, but I just got done filming and uploading a new video on visitation fiction in tabletop role playing games, and really happy with that video. I just thought it was fun doing it. So, but while I was doing that video, we started to talk about one of the aspects of that visitation fiction in that video was about historical using history in role playing games, and I just wanted to kind of come on live, try out the YouTube live thing, see if anybody's out there. I don't know if I can actually see the chat here. Top chat, live chat, all messages are visible. Can I see those things here? Maybe if I do this. Sorry, everybody. Anybody who's watching. Looks like I have one person there. I am just trying to figure out how I can see. That's not it. That's the living room. Ah, there we go. I can see it now. Malik, thanks for popping in. Hey, man. So, yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about history in role playing games and using historical role playing games. If anybody's ever done it, um, if it's used, I mean, like if it's something that's done. I mean, I know there's a lot of historical role playing games out there. I own Lion and Dragon by RPG Pundit. I love it. It's fantastic, but it's very structured to just the War of the Roses time period. I know there's another one out there called Operation White Box, which is World War II. Been very interested in checking that one out. Looks pretty cool. And I have a literal shed ton of 15 millimeter World War II figures when I used to play Flames of War. I could use for that game if I wanted to use miniatures for it. Um, but I was in the video I just posted about visitation fiction stuff. I talked about GURPS and why I like to use GURPS for historical type stuff. Mostly because GURPS allows me to do anything, any time period, any I can create any kind of craziness that I want to do, and I can do like a quantum leap kind of type of game where I can change between historical eras and time periods. Um, so yeah, that's why I like using GURPS. It's an interesting game. It's a little bit math heavy, a lot of workload onto the game master, but yeah, I really dig it. Doesn't get as much play, I think, as a lot of other games do. Like I said in the other video, GURPS is the best game that nobody ever plays anymore. Hey Eric, how's it going, buddy? I was trying out the YouTube live thing because like never done it before, and I see that you use it quite a bit, and a lot of other people use it. I just want to try it out. I just uploaded a video about world building and using visitation fiction in world building or in tabletop role playing games, and I talked about GURPS, and I wanted to talk about like history in role playing games. And what I like about GURPS is it lets me do any kind of time period, any kind of era. I got really interested in the history, believe it or not, through Dungeons and Dragons. I started off when I started playing D&D. It was in second edition, and in the second edition player's handbook, they have these little asides that talk about like historical figures. Like, all right, I'm back. I don't know what's up with that. The Wi-Fi just dropped out or whatever. Anyhow, so in second edition D&D, they had these little asides talk about like what a fighter is, and it would talk about like Alexander the Great and Beowulf and people like that. And so I got really interested in history via that game, and actually went on into college to study history because of that. And so I'm slowly developing a post-apocalyptic steampunk saying 40s. Nice, nice, nice. I think that's really cool. Yeah, I've always loved the sort of integrating history into my games. And like I said, I was talking about GURPS. Nobody ever plays GURPS anymore, but I love GURPS. Even just for the reference books, like their little splat books on like space and low tech and stuff, has so much information in them that I used and kind of glean from that to put into other games and stuff. So GURPS is really good for that. I mentioned earlier I wanted to do sort of a quantum leap type of a game where you created just a normal character and went hopping through time and stuff. Be kind of cool, kind of like a historical version of the Planeswalkers from Magic: The Gathering. I think that would be kind of a fun idea. Um, but I like to use I like to explore different types of periods of history, and I don't want to get bogged down into just one. Although, like I said, I love Lion and Dragon by RPG Pundit. Fantastic setting, very, very awesome, but just specifically War of the Roses, medieval period. You could kind of stretch it out there a little bit. Operation White Box out there by, I think it's Pete Spawn, not James Spawn, but I think it's Pete Spawn. Looks really, really interesting. I have the PDF. I haven't bought the book yet, um, but I think that would be really interesting to kind of delve into some World War II stories. And doesn't necessarily have to. Yes, Pete Spawn. Thanks. Looks really, really cool. The cool thing is that you could probably um, incorporate some supernatural stuff into there, make it kind of a horror World War II Cthulhu-esque kind of thing. Or you could add in sort of like Nazi occult practices and stuff as well. Would be kind of fun, kind of interesting. You could. The great thing about using a role playing game and using and sort of stretching the boundaries of history is that you can change history. You can alter it. You can make it an alternative history setting. So it doesn't necessarily have to be. So, for instance, um, the guys over at Wet Ink Games, um, yes, Hellboy would be fantastic. I wonder if we could do like a GURPS Hellboy. That would be pretty fun. Um, like GURPS is interesting because it's a great system. It's really really fun. It's the core mechanic of it's pretty easy. It's pretty straightforward. Where it becomes a little more difficult is actually creating um, things. So the game master, it's a little labor intensive, and there's a lot of math involved. So it's not that the game is hard. It's just that it's labor intensive. I guess is probably the best way to put it, because it's just a toolbox. It's just literally a book full of tools, and you want to sort of pull out what you need for the whatever particular game you're running, kind of thing. Um, so yeah, it would be cool to explore different types of history via whatever. I was sorry, I totally skipped over the Wet Ink game things. Malik, if you get a chance, check them out. Wet Ink Games is doing a game called Wild Skies right now. Europa Tempest. They just had a successful Kickstarter for the follow up. 1930s diesel punk with anthropomorphic animals. The interesting thing behind it is that the history in it is very, very cool. It's very, very gritty. It's very sort of follows a timeline where World War One never sort of ended in armistice, and so it's continued on. And what's interesting is the history that they wrote up in there actually is that that the war continued, but because of it, because it never ended, the history has changed. So like some of the countries who were involved or now have left because they just have run out of resources. The war has gone on so long, and like one of my favorites is that Russia has pulled back because it's in the middle of a revolution, and so they're kind of in their own. They got their own craziness going on right now, and so they're kind of pulled away from the war. Alliances have shifted. It's cool. It's definitely worth a game worth checking out. Um, and I did a review a while back as well too. So go check that out. It's a great game. It's just really good. And those guys over there are amazing. Great folk as well too. And right down there from Louisville, where Eric Bloat is at right now. Um, but I think GURPS would be cool because you could change history, but you could also sort of time travel, hop back and forth. It's it would be interesting to do like a thing where in one session or several sessions you were, in the midst of World War II, and maybe the next you were in the Spartacus slave revolt, and then you hopped, forward. I've always wanted to build something that was sort of epic in scope. And I don't want to give too much away. Like I said, I just posted a video about using visitation fiction in tabletop role playing, and that's the idea of um, taking characters from the modern world and putting them into different situations. So think like the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon from the '80s, where kids get on a roller coaster and they come out into the Dungeons and Dragons world, and now they have to try to figure out how to get back home. And that's kind of a cool. Excuse me. Um, yeah, Louisville is kind of a hotbed for indie RPG publishers, built games, writing games, semi-in games, just name a few. Nice, Eric. Yeah, I totally want to come down and visit you guys sometime. Sounds like that. We met a lot of people uh, there at Palladium Open House that were all from that area, and sounds like a great place. Yeah, Malik. Yeah, yeah. Rollmaster would be really, really cool too. In fact, what's the new one that they just came out with? Mithras, right? That's a kind of a generic setting as well too, with splat books to kind of expand. So yeah, Rollmaster, any kind of sort of generic sort of toolbox game, like GURPS. Um, I also mentioned in the other video I just posted about the Megaverse builder. Sorry, the glare windows right behind me. Um, the Megaverse builder would be really cool. I want to build some character. I would love to do sort of a campaign where everybody creates a character using the Dead Rain book, where you just make a survivor, just a normal human with an everyday job, and then build some cool different dimensions using the Megaverse builder, and having people, like an NPC, be a shifter who has arrived, and he's recruited sort of some of the humans from modern day Earth to come with him to try to discover, reclaim whatever. I haven't put a lot of thought into it, but I just think it would be a cool thing. This book is amazing too. If you play any Palladium stuff, this book was probably one of the best purchases I ever made from them, because it's just a great toolbox of awesomeness. And So yeah, just the idea of sort of like, what would it be like for a modern day medical doctor to show up in the midst of the Roman Civil War or something like that. Um, yeah, Eric, Malika, yeah, this is a great one as well. But Eric, yeah, please check it out, man. It's cool. You can create dimensions of everything from pure magic to no magic whatsoever. What it kind of reminded me of is sort of like a reverse version of Torg. They just did a re-release on Torg as well too, which I haven't had a chance to check out yet. I work for a bookstore, and I had the owner try to order me a copy, and it hasn't arrived yet. I don't know if like the distributor is out right now, or what the delay is, but I really like to check out Torg. So Torg's kind of a reverse. These dimensions sort of show up on Earth, and the people you play are Storm Knights who have the abilities to try to interact with those dimensions. This would be kind of the opposite, where you would travel from one place to another dimension, rather than dimensions coming to you. And so, kind of a reverse Torg idea, playing a shifter or something. But I think an ordinary person traveling to a different thing would be kind of cool. It'd be interesting to have something like, so say you had say you were like a gunsmith in modern day, and you had a pistol with you, but when you arrived in ancient Rome, the pistol didn't transfer because that type of technology didn't exist, but you still have the knowledge of how to create gunpowder or create weapons of that caliber. So you have now you've brought the knowledge with you. Ordinary person from BTS would be better. Oh yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. Totally, Kyle. I totally forgot about that. I did pick that up. I picked up Beyond the Supernatural, the second edition, while I was there at the Palladium Open House. And you're right. The normal person from that would be perfect for that kind of thing. Um, but the idea of sort of like taking the knowledge with you wherever you go to whatever dimension, and maybe the technology doesn't transfer because it doesn't exist in that time period or that dimension. So, for instance, in here it talks about like people who are magic users going to a no magic dimension have no magic, but they have, I guess psychics, yeah, um, but they have the knowledge still of magic and how it works. There's just no magic available for them, sort of no mana to draw from. Yeah, Torg does some kind of interesting. The other thing that kind of uh, the only thing about Torg is I feel like it could be really campy at times. I feel like that I don't know. I like the idea of Torg, but when I was looking deeper into some of the things like the like was it steampunk uh, uh, um, Egyptian Empire. Well, while it sounds cool, it seems a little weird looking. I don't know. I don't know if I grasp the whole concept of playing like a ninja with powers from Japan, ancient Japan, going to the the mega high tech now. I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to play it. Looking forward to picking it up and checking it out at least. Ulysses Spiel, North America. Really enjoyed all their stuff. I love the Dark Eye. They put out some really quality products. Plus, it's Shane Hensley from oh gosh, Pinnacle Entertainment. And I really enjoy a lot of the stuff he's written in the past with Savage Worlds and stuff. So it's worth checking out. I think. I like the card interaction with that as well too. I love. I don't know if I ever mentioned this in any of my videos, but I love when a role playing game has lots of chits and bits and stuff. I love tokens. I love miniatures. Although I don't use miniatures a lot in games much anymore. Just because I travel, I don't have a space. We bought a new house, and I don't really have a space to do it. I used to have a kind of a man cave where I could actually do those kinds of things, set up boards and miniatures and terrain and stuff, and I just don't have the space to do it now. So when I travel to go play games, it's hard to carry all that stuff with me. But I do love using miniatures for certain things. In fact, I want to do a video, and let me know if this sounds interesting to you guys. I want to do a video on using miniatures in role playing games, not to make it a tactical board game like Fourth Edition was. And nothing against Fourth Edition. I played a lot of it, thought it was cool, but it really felt more like a board game than it did a role playing game. But I want to do a video where it's using miniatures in role playing games to enhance the game as opposed to make it a board game. So I'm thinking about kind of doing a video on that kind of thing as well. But I love when role playing games have lots of stuff. And Torg has that idea of using um, cards to enhance the initiative order, as well as like changing the way the outcome of certain events happen and stuff, which I think is kind of cool. Um, I love like inspiration tokens and that kind of stuff as well. I just feel like the tactical, or not tactical, the tactile aspect of having little things to sort of turn in, or resource management, it's kind of cool in a role playing kind of setting. I like those things. I have tons of poker chips and um, pirate coins, and I got those cool little like plastic things you use in a fish tank. And I'm back. For whatever reason, my Wi-Fi keeps dropping out. Sorry, everybody. Yeah, ICIPG absolutely uses that kind of stuff as well too. I love it. ICRPG. If you haven't watched my video on ICRPG or Index Card RPG, please do so. It's probably one of the times I made an ass of myself in a video because I was so overly excited about a game. Um, but I love the aspect of using index cards with sort of like images on them to represent places or things, and then like cardboard standees of your characters moving about those things. Um, ICRPG, amazing, amazing. Yeah, I did. Yeah, Kyle. Yeah, I just saw that. Uh, Mike, yeah, Eric, I know, I know, buddy. Yeah, Kyle, Mike, I just saw those. He posted them on Facebook or someplace. I saw that. I will check those out. If you guys haven't checked out Mike Leonard, Madman Mike, he's got some really cool stuff. Check him out. Kyle, remind me what page was that on? Do you remember what group it was in? I want to say like the One Shot group or something. Maybe I could be completely wrong. Or maybe it was the Fans of the Palladium group. Um, one of those things. Now that Hank has it on Amazon, yeah, Malik, yeah, definitely pick up a copy of it, man. It is really amazing. And in fact, I because I bought into the first edition, I have the PDF of the second edition, but I'm working on a project for Eric right now, and I've it's going to be my reward basically. So the sooner I can finish this project for Eric and Bloat Games and stuff, I my reward for finishing that is I will buy myself a hardcover copy of the IC RPG role playing game and stuff as well. So that's kind of my reward for finishing this project for Bloat Games. Trying to get it done and get it finished and get it out to you guys. So it's going to be really really awesome. But yeah, so what you know, Eric. It's yeah, he's a he's a taskmaster. uh, yeah, Malik, it's going to be great. It's going to be really fun. I'm having a lot of fun writing this supplement for Bloat Games, and it's I got a lot of ideas for it, and so they're just really kind of flopping out of me, and it's really fun. I should be working on that right now instead of doing this kind of thing, but I'm not. I'm goofing off. The house is empty. It's kind of nice. My daughter's back from college. She just got a job, so she's off there. The other two are at school. My wife's at work. I'd never done the YouTube live thing before, so I thought I wanted to jump on here and try it out, see how it works. While the house is empty and there's nobody going to be bothering me, I can sit on the couch and kind of enjoy and talk to all of you. Stuff looks like we got four people watching now. So hi everybody. Um, oh, I wanted to tell you guys too. I've been playing around with the YouTube thing, the Questwise channel. I've got a new intro. It's got, I mean, it's nothing super and fantastic and mega awesome, but I changed changed up the way that the intro works and stuff too. Um, I'm starting a series. I just posted the first one today on world building, but not like just general world building because lots of people do that kind of stuff. And there's lots of great books out there on it, like Cobalt Press. Is that right? Cobalt Press. They put out some books on world building, and it's really awesome. So what I was doing was taking this kind of stuff and talking about world building and different aspects and stuff, that kind of thing. Dungeon Crawl Classics. I actually want to do this soon. I haven't played Dungeon Crawl Classics in a while, and these guys, if you haven't checked out Dungeon Crawl Classics, damn it, man, go check this thing out. This is the best thing. This is great. 1970s kind of heavy metal esque role playing. It's goofy, it's weird, it's strange, it's completely awesome. But the way, if you don't know, the way that this thing works is that you generally, when you start a campaign, you run your characters. They start them off. You start off with several zero level characters, and they are really, really zero level characters. Like sometimes they'll have like one hit point. And you run them through what they call a funnel, which is basically a meat grinder of an adventure. And if anybody survives, they become your first level character, and that's where you start the campaign from. Um, and it's super fun. And the great thing about Goodman Games, who puts this thing out, this is a giant book. DCC RPG is everything a 12-year-old boy remembers about playing D&D. Yeah, Eric, absolutely. It's sort of like just like the craziest crap that you can imagine, and they threw it into a game, and it's very 1970s ish. I mean, check out the dude's pants on the back; it's pretty fantastic. Um, Great stuff. And like I said, this book is huge, but it's like 20. Oh, this one's 40 because it's the hardcover. But I just saw a paperback in my local game store the other day. It's like 25. I mean, it's the same book. But what Goodman Games does with DCC is that I find really, really fantastic is um, they're very, very, very supportive of the people who run it for them. So, for instance, if you sign up for their road crew, and that's what I love about it too. It feels like a 1970s heavy metal band. You can go to their website and become part of the road crew, for the world tour. And if you sign up for that, you can go to their store, their web store, and they will send you stuff. They will send you free shit to run their game. And every time you do it during the current year, it gets better and better and better. So the more games you run, the better stuff that they send you for free, absolutely free, um, to run the game. And so the ultimate goal, and I think it's still the ultimate goal because I would really love to do that. Let's see, what games? Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The games are really fast and stuff as well. But so the free stuff, and the ultimate goal is to get this really cool belt buckle. It's like 1970s kind of belt buckle with the big Dungeon Crawl Classics demon head and stuff on it. But so I just this is my I'm setting up a game for next Monday, at my local game store, and so I sent them. I just went online and I ordered the first packet, my first packet for the year, and they arrived. And every time it comes, it's got tons of stuff in it that I never even expected. So I got a an entire pad of zero level character sheets. So it's a normal size piece of paper, and it has four mini character sheets on it. And there's a whole pad of them. There must be like 100 sheets or something. I also got a small little like not a folder, like a pamphlet kind of thing. Well, yeah, 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 Kenny, yeah, you're right. That's kind of people who don't wear pants are not going to need the belt buckle, but it looks really cool. I did last year. They sent me this cool pin that I can put on my hat or my shirt that says like DCC Judge on it. That's really awesome and like it's metal. It's like hardcore kind of thing. Um, but I got this pamphlet of like character sheets that I can for first level, so I can actually print them off. So if you we get done with the funnel, if you become a wizard, it's like they're themed for each character class, which is kind of sweet. They gave me like a dozen or so bookmarks. On the front of it has cool like DCC art and stuff on it, and on the back of it actually has like a mini character sheet, and then a few other bookmarks that had uh, other bookmarks that had like on the back of it. Oh, the fumble charts and stuff on them, because that's the great thing about this game is when you fumble, horrible things happen, or hilariously horrible things happen. What else was in there? Oh, there was a two different posters to hang up at my local store that had like a space to put the time and date of the game that I'm running in there, and then a big poster for myself. It was a poster. I think I'm gonna frame it because it just says Road Crew, or World DCC World Tour 2018, and it had their newest kind of NPC character lady on there as well too. So Eric, hey man, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for letting me test out this YouTube live thing. I'll catch you later, man. I'll talk to you later. I'll shoot you a text message later. Some cool stuff I've been working on. But thanks for stopping by. Um, so yeah, DCC. If you haven't checked it out, Dungeon Crawl Classics, really cool stuff. And like I said, they just treat their fans really well, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I wish more companies would do that kind of thing. Like I said, absolutely free for just helping run games and stuff for that. So, but I want to do a thing where I take normal people. I want to create NPCs, or I want to create PCs that are zero level characters from Earth. Um, yeah, Kenny, you're right. The campaign play probably breaks down pretty quickly, but I do love it for funnels. I love running funnels. It's almost like when I used to play Magic the Gathering, I didn't really like playing Magic the Gathering. I just really liked doing the draft. I really liked cracking packs and building a deck and then playing with those kind of things. I didn't really like tournament play. I just thought the draft was kind of cool. Same thing with DCC. I don't know how long. I've never run a full long campaign with it, but I think that the funnels, yeah, ported funnels to other games. I bet that would be awesome. In fact, I was flipping through some of my stuff on my shelf the other day, and I came across the Greyhawk book from first/second edition, and they have the rules in there for creating zero level characters and stuff too. And I instantly thought of that. I was like, man, doing a funnel in Greyhawk would be hilariously fun. But yeah, I don't know how well a long time term campaign would last, but man, the funnels are great, especially for conventions. Um, Especially for especially conventions, because like as you can have a whole group of people, and then as people sort of die off, those little it takes like 5 minutes to create a character, a zero level character, or just have a bunch of them available, and people can kind of cycle in and out. I mean, that would be great. Funnel Greyhawk for the win. Absolutely. I'm going to try it out now. I think that would be kind of fun. Um, Kind of a troop style play kind of thing where you're playing like four different zero level characters in Greyhawk during who knows whatever. You could set it during like the I'm drawing a blank on it. Like the Vecna invasion kind of thing. Or Ayaz, that was his name, not Vecna. Ayaz the Evil. and that would be kind of fun. It would be kind of neat. Villagers defending their homes against the hordes of creatures and stuff. But I wouldn't. What I want to do is I want to create like modern day humans in DCC, zero level. You got like cooks and pilots and whatever, doctor, whatever, and they get sort of ported into the Dungeon Crawl classics. Playing some stars nowadays, we can't play. Yeah. Oh yeah, Kenny. Absolutely. Um, yeah, I was talking earlier about how I just don't have a spot in my new house to actually set up a place where everybody can come play, and so I have to usually travel to a store. Or where I live here in northern Michigan, the brewery, the little microbreweries are huge right now, and they love to have people come by and play board games and stuff. So we play a lot of D&D and other stuff at some of the local breweries. One of them is called Earth and Ales, has a huge tap room, uh, and it's just kind of open. I mean, all their serve is beer, so even if you want to eat, you got to order pizza in and stuff. But so you got to travel and stuff as well. It's kind of nice to be able to go out and do stuff. But I think conventions are really fun with funnels and stuff as well. One shots. I've been playing a lot of one shots lately. Um, I did start a campaign. In fact, I think yesterday was Mother's Day, so we couldn't really do anything then, or we could have, but my wife would have been pissed if I had left. I'm gonna adjust my camera here, guys. Sorry. Um, but next week we've only played one session so far, but next week we're gonna do this. We did this D&D campaign, which is kind of weird. That's everybody's playing a bard. Uh, Weird, quirky idea I came up with. So they're sort of a traveling troupe of minstrels who started off really small, and they're working their way. They're in the Forgotten Realms, and they're making their way from the southern Sword Coast. Their ultimate goal is to play a show in Waterdeep, um, and that's kind of their ultimate goal. And I've thrown a bunch of weird, crazy crap at them and stuff. Um, Fifth edition is what we're on, Malik. Um, that's just the most popular thing right now. Something about an post. Oh well, hey Will, I'm seeing you now, buddy. At least I saw that post anyway. But yeah, Malik Fifth Edition, just the big thing that's really popular here. Like I said, I live in northern Michigan. We're one of the bigger towns in my area, but we're still a pretty small town compared to like Chicago or Detroit or anything. So what's most popular here is Fifth Edition, some Pathfinder. There's a group that runs Shadowrun pretty consistently, but so Fifth Edition playing all bards, which at first when I came up with the idea, I was like, yeah, this is going to be really weird. It's not going to work out very well. It's going to be really hard to to game master, but it's actually been really awesome with the Bardic Colleges thing that came out with the Player's Handbook and Xanathar's Guide and a couple of the others. I don't think we have a single character in our group that has the same. Well, we might have a few that have the same Bardic College, but all their characters are different, and they've all come up with some really, really unique characters. But it's just really hard to do this. So we're trying to do it like once a month and do like a big session, and it just seems like every time the day comes up that we're supposed to do it, something happens. I was out of town at one point in Detroit doing a convention then. Yesterday was Mother's Day, so it's been well over a month since we've done our last thing. But it's been a fun campaign. So if you guys are really into the thing, I stand, but I sold mine. Find some noobs or small community. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, I have so much stuff and so many ideas for different games that I'd like to do. And playing all bards reminds me of a campaign several years ago where the PCs were the performers of roadies. Yeah, that's cool. No, that's awesome. Because and yeah, ours is totally the same way. Like they came up with a crazy ass name for their band. Um, they're sort of brought together by an old woman who's she's masters in divination. So when they set up a show, she does like card readings and fortune tellings and that kind of stuff. I made them each detail out what their specific part of the show is. So whenever they set up to do a show, they have three different acts that they can perform during the sort of whole performance and stuff. So I made them do the details into that as well. Um, we have one character who wanted to play a half orc bard, but he rolled really crappy stats, and so he is playing a teenage half-orc bard who wants to be a bard so bad. He wants to be a performer, but he's really bad at it. He's just not good at. Man, sorry about that, guys. It's been horrible today. It just keeps. I don't know if the air conditioner, maybe it's finally getting warm here in northern Michigan, and the air conditioner keeps kicking on. And I wonder if it's like flopping my Wi-Fi in and out. But anyhow, I'm back. So yeah, the bard thing, the character, he's like a teenager, and he's not good at it. But so he's sort of like the roadie for the group. It's been a lot of fun. We've some really cool stuff. These guys have some great ideas. And I call them kids because most of them are way younger than me. Most of them are in their 20s, mid 20s, if that. And but these guys are all really great. They're really passionate role players, which is really great to see. A new generation of people who are really big fans of playing D&D, and they have great ideas. They're all well read, really super intelligent kids, really great stuff. So it's been a real joy to play with them as well. But like I said, it's tough, man. A full time job, and I've been doing this writing things, supplements for Bloat Games and stuff. So my free time's kind of short. I've tried to do. Now I'm a very traditional kind of person when it comes to role playing. I want a book in my hand. Not a big fan of PDFs. I want a book. I want dice on the table kind of thing. I want people to sit around the table with me. So when I started doing the YouTube channel, it's and short of time of being able to play with groups and people here in town, I started to play a little bit online, and I was really skeptical of it. At first. My words are not working today either. Um, but yeah, I'm like, you got to have the book. Even when I print off or when I have a PDF, I try to print it off and put it in a folder or something. Um, but so I've tried to play online a few times, and it's been good. It's been fun. We haven't used Roll20 or anything. We just did a Skype or Google Hangouts on YouTube. So it takes the honor system of when you're rolling dice and stuff, which is fine. I think my perspective on role playing games is that it's all about the narrative anyway. So sometimes flub dice rolls not that big a deal. But it's been interesting. It's not my favorite way to play doing it online, um, but it's okay when you don't have time to play with somebody else. Here, local time, you can find people, and I've played with people from all over the place. I think one guy's from New Jersey, some people from Kentucky. Played one time with a guy from he's overseas, like in Sweden or something. So yeah, it's been really really cool. Um, yeah, Kyle, it's just books and dice are the best. Just that tactile thing, like to have them and have the dice at the table and that kind of stuff, and it's easier, I think, to run a game at a table with people because you can feed off of their emotions, you can feed off of their excitement or their boredom. Like you can change things on the fly based upon their thing. It's hard to convey um, emotion through a computer a lot of times, especially if the people, like when we play on Google Hangouts, sometimes people don't have the camera set up, they just have an audio feed, and it's just like a logo or something or a picture of them, um, which is fine. Some people don't like being on the camera, but it's hard when you're at a table. There's that sort of like the building of emotion and excitement that comes from that, and you can feed off of that. At least I do as a game master. I love to feed off of that stuff. Or I know that I need to pick up my pace or do something different if I look across the table and somebody's yawning, or they're starting to nod off, or they're checking their phone. I will have somebody kick in the door and something big and bad show up. But you want to. I think that's easier when you have a group of people at a table. I'm not the big on online gaming. I like the atmosphere, energy. Yeah, absolutely, Kyle. Like you got to have that sort of emotion at the tabletop. But in a pinch, online gaming, it's been fun. Like I said, it's people I met here through YouTube, and several people I met down at the Palladium Open House and stuff as well. We've done a couple games online, and it's been a good time. So in a pinch, I don't mind playing online, but it's good to know that there are some local people here who are excited about things. Um, Live is best in Hangouts, works running campaign via text messages on Facebook. To I left big gaming community and retired to Florida. Yeah, man. Um, sometimes if you have to, you got to play online and you got to do it. The thing I like about playing online though is that uh, there's somebody out there who's playing something. So like, for instance, we talked about GURPS earlier on, and nobody in my hometown. Now I work as a bookseller and I curate science fiction, fantasy, and games. So I have GURPS on my shelf at my store, but nobody's buying it. Nobody's playing this that I know currently in my area is playing this game except for me. Um, and so playing online is nice because you can find people out there who are playing something. There's the one shot group over it on Facebook, um, where people are constantly putting up stuff like, "Hey, anybody interested in such and such a game?" And that's those kinds of things. Another thing that's really nice is that you get a perspective of people from across people you would never get to play with before, from across the world. Like I said, I've played with people from different countries, different states. It's been really really fun. Even when you do this kind of stuff, we're just kind of interacting online with people that you wouldn't normally get to interact with, which is why I love conventions. Um, because you can go there and you can meet people who are just who are passionate about the same types of things, but are from all different walks of life and stuff, which is it's really really fun. So sometimes you get, especially like in my town where it's fairly small. Like I said, we're kind of the biggest town in the area, but we're still small compared to like Detroit or Chicago. Um, but so you get a core group of people, and sometimes you get stuck into playing things like just fifth edition or just whatever Pathfinder or something. But uh, which nothing's wrong with that. But it's nice to break out of the mold once in a while. So a few people from various Facebook groups mentioned playing groups. Yeah, yeah. There's actually a video out there. I don't remember who even posted it, but he made the best quote I've ever heard about GURPS. He said it's the best game that nobody's playing, and it's true. It's a really really great game, and like I said, the core of the game itself, super easy, but there's a lot of workload on the game master to make it happen. So it's probably the main influence why. It's got huge support. Steve Jackson Games. There's tons of PDFs and stuff out there for it. So there's no lack of support for the game itself. It's a little older now, fourth edition. I don't know when fourth edition actually came out. This is the newest edition, so a couple of years ago maybe. Let's take a look. (2016) fourth edition. Yeah, so a couple of years old, but I dig it, man. It's really cool. It's a cool game. Portland's like that weird. Dwarfed by Seattle and San Francisco. Yeah, yeah. Fifth edition. I mean, D&D is always king. It's really popular with intense gamers, but casual gamers not so much. Yeah, well, absolutely. In fact, I actually read a rumor one time that George R. R. Martin, the guy who created Game of Thrones, sung out Ice and Fire, he actually still is currently playing in a game of GURPS set in ancient Rome with some of his friends. So that was kind of cool to hear. That there's some semi-famous people out there who are still playing GURPS. But yeah, there's not a lot of talk about it. Not a lot of people who are sharing it. Not a lot of people who are out there intensely talking about GURPS and stuff. I should change that. I should do a few videos on GURPS and stuff. There's a few out there on YouTube, but my friend CJ wrote a lot of stuff for it. Doesn't have a GURPS game right now. Oh, nice, right on. Yeah, there's a few videos out there on GURPS and how to run the game, and but they're old. They're older. They've been out there for a couple of years and stuff. So it'd be cool to see a resurgence of GURPS. I love old games. You have to work on the players you have. Gaming group started at any time. Yeah, Kyle, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, Kenny, Dungeon Fantasy. Yeah, absolutely. Uh, that's always intrigued me. I haven't picked up the Dungeon Fantasy one yet, but it's really really intrigued me, being kind of GURPS style. I love games that have the old school feel. Um, I just because I was 14 when I started playing. I started with Palladium. Riffs and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was my first game, but when I came back to my home up here in northern Michigan, nobody sold that kind of stuff, so I picked up second edition D&D. And in college, I went back and played Basic, and I played First Edition, and then we played a lot of Second Edition, and I ended third. I played every edition basically of D&D. So I have a real fondness for the older style type things as well. So I really love basic fantasy. I love everything that's coming out of like Bloat Games because of the sort of old school feel to it, the old OSR stuff, any of that kind of stuff. I just really dig that feel. GURPS has that sort of classic feel to it for me, anyway. It's like a 3d6, add 'em up, hit a target number kind of thing. Um, I like the six-sided thing, and here's why. This is my quirky. I may have talked about this in a video before, but I'm not sure. So, first game, I'll never run it. Find out the games that GURPS for master. Can't run stuff. Yeah, I'm like, it's teach their own kind of thing, and you want to play the games that you enjoy and want to that you find fun to run. So yeah, and that's the great thing about the world right now is there's such a huge group of different games out there. So yeah, pick the ones that you love or easiest for you to play kind of thing. But so quirky story about me with the D6 thing. I want to play Rose Light, but don't want to run it. Yeah, no, right on, Will. It's absolutely. I have this weird love affection of like Rules Light, but at the same time, I want a game that's super crunchy and heavy. Like I like the meat of a really heavy, crunchy game, but at the same time, I like the Rules Light aspect of sort of the open narrative of things. Um, but quirky thing about the D6 thing, like I said, I started playing Palladium my first game, and I came back home and I didn't have um, didn't have access to them. In fact, even picking up D&D for the first time, nobody sold polyhedral dice. Nobody. I couldn't find them anywhere. I could find D&D books at like the Walden books and local that kind of thing, Borders, but there was just no polyhedral dice to be seen. So I took some comic books. I was a huge comic book fan at the time, and I broke them out. And the knowledge I had of Palladium stuff, as well as mixed with the D&D stuff, I started to stat out different superheroes. So Spider-Man and Venom and Spawn and Superman. And I had scavenged dice out of our closet from like Monopoly and Yahtzee and that kind of stuff, and I used D6s for everything. So I sort of created my own. At 14 years old, I was sort of creating my own games. Um, and at that point, again, Northern Michigan, I didn't know anybody who played, so I was sort of like created my own sort of solo gaming, role playing aspect. And I was using D6, six-sided dice, D6s for that, and so that's where my affection for six-sided dice come from, and that's kind of why I love the feeling of GURPS because of the six-sided die thing. It's easy to find those dice anywhere, and eventually I did find some polyhedral dice. They were not made for D&D. They were it was supposed to be like a polyhedral math game, but it had all the dice that you needed, and only had one 10-sided dice kind of thing, but. One of the advantages of Palladium's other games, less source material to deal with. Yeah, I love the depth of knowledge that goes into some of the Palladium games. Some of the Rifts lines have this huge, long history and lots of source material for them. But yeah, you're right. Beyond the supernatural, nice, because there's not a lot of stuff that you have to weed through. You have the core book, and then the rest is up to you and your imagination and your players' imaginations. Splicers, same way. Although Splicers heard. Yeah, oh, absolutely, Kyle. Riffs, absolutely. And what I love about Riffs, Kyle, is that you can do anything with it. Kenny, keep an eye out. That might be coming soon. Revision. Anyhow, Riffs, huge amount of stuff. If you feel like playing fantasy, you can play fantasy in Riffs. There's that aspects of magic and psychics and stuff. And if you want a more technology-based sort of game, it's there. Big powered robots and missiles and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, Riffs has it all, and it's just awesome. It's awesome, and you can do anything with it. Kyle, I don't know if you were here earlier when I was talking about the Megaverse Builder, but I've been pouring through this baby, and this is probably one of the best books I've ever bought for the Palladium system. This is the coolest thing, and it's not very big at all, but man, there's some great stuff in there. And I actually picked this up because having interviewed Carl Gleba, he had mentioned it in our interview, and I was like, yeah, I don't have a copy of that. I definitely got to pick one up, and I'm glad I did. It's super awesome. So, yeah, Kyle, check it out. It's really awesome. It's 16.95. It's got an expanded section on the shifter class, and rules on building your own dimensions and stuff. So you can basically, like, if you want to leave Rift's Earth, you just roll up some stuff and you have a whole new dimension to play in and stuff. It's really, really cool. Although the cover, not sure how Palladium got away with that, but yeah, that's very Marvel. Very, very Marvel. Just maybe just the serial numbers filed off on that baby, but yeah, cool book, absolutely. So, um, yeah, well, guys, we've been talking for almost an hour here. I just wanted to try this stuff out. Everybody, thanks for hanging out with me for a while. It's been really fun. I think I'm going to be doing some more of this. I think Rifts only becomes unmanageable when a DM doesn't know how to say no. Yeah, Kyle, absolutely. Rifts can be really tough. I did a video on it a while back about talking about when you run a Rifts game, you can't let people play whatever they want, like, because it just doesn't work. You can't you can't have a city rat and a glitter boy running next to each other. It just there is a big imbalance, but um, if you can sort of narrow the focus of that game down a little bit, um, it's perfect. The game runs really, really well. If you want to run sort of a coalition campaign where your characters are just playing like coalition soldiers, works really well. If you want to just play like in the Chi-Town burbs with city rats and some psychics and dog boys and that kind of stuff, it works really, really well. If you want to go massive in scale and you want to have everybody running a mercenary company with powered, giant robots and stuff, that works really well too, because then you can kind of scale the thing. But if you just let people run willy-nilly and pick whatever they want, that's when the game starts to break down a little bit. So is the game imbalanced? Yes. But is it manageable? Yes. It's playable. It definitely works. It's just that there's so much of a scope there that you can't sort of just like, you have to focus in. Yeah, by design, absolutely. And that's the great thing. Like I said, the great thing about Rifts is that you can play any sort of genre kind of thing that you. Thanks, Malik. I appreciate you swinging by, buddy. That was great. Yeah, toolkit system, absolutely. There's so much stuff there, and if you just kind of focus your narrative down on one certain part of it, the game works really, really well. So, but everybody, thanks for hanging out with me. It's been 55 minutes almost as well too. I appreciate everybody hanging out. I love doing it. This is fun. This is great. The first time I ever done a YouTube live thing. Just want to see how it worked out, and it's been really fun. So. Thanks for everybody. Wasn't sure if anybody was going to come hang out. Like I said, for me here, it's like the middle of the afternoon, yeah. But I'll definitely do this again. Mondays is usually when I post my videos. Please, I just posted one today. It's on world building and using visitation fiction in your tabletop role playing games. Go check it out. Also, guys, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, obviously you have if you're watching this. Please share. We're almost at 500 subscribers, and if we can hit that point, I'm going to start giving away some cool stuff and do some big blowout thing for that as well too. So, every time during other videos, yeah, absolutely. And so again, thanks for hanging out with me. And I think every Monday I might do one of these things too, because the house is empty, it's nice and quiet. I can just hang out in the living room on the couch and talk to you guys. So I'll probably post a video every Monday, and then I'll come out and do a hangout kind of thing as well too. So, thanks, guys. Have a great afternoon, and I will see you next time. All right, take care.